Kale Voss sat alone in the control bay of Orbital Maintenance Station 17, high above Earth's surface. The station floated in the silent vacuum of space, orbiting with perfect precision just outside the defense grid, a vast web of satellites surrounding the planet. From this high up, Earth looked peaceful, a blue and green orb wrapped in soft white clouds. No sign of danger. No war. Just silence. Kale's console flickered to life as he keyed in the system diagnostic. The skin began to sweep through the grid, checking for faults, signal losses, and power inconsistencies. It was routine work, dull but important. The grid was Earth's greatest achievement, a satellite network so powerful it could intercept alien threats before they even reached the atmosphere. Or so everyone believed. Kale had done this check 100 times before. He knew the readings like he knew his own breath. But today, something caught his eye. He muttered. On satellite node 6-14A, there was a pulse. Not a malfunction, no red flags or alerts, but a repeating energy spike. It was tiny, buried under the system logs, like a heartbeat under layers of static. He tapped a few keys and zoomed in. The pulse repeated every 11 seconds. Consistent. Clean. Too clean to be natural noise. Kale frowned. That's deliberate. He ran a deeper scan, one level below his clearance. His fingers hesitated before pressing the override. This wasn't standard procedure, but something about the rhythm, the quiet precision of it, made his instincts flare. The screen flashed. Access denied. Restricted file. Gate Protocol Alpha. Gate Protocol? He'd never seen the name before. Kale leaned back, suddenly aware of the stillness in the room. His heartbeat felt louder than the hum of the station around him. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a spy. He was just an engineer trained to keep systems running, not uncover buried secrets. Still, curiosity won. He opened his personal toolkit, a few lines of unauthorized code he'd written for debugging, and slipped it into the system. The screen flickered, then granted him partial access. Just enough to see a glimpse. What he saw made his skin prickle. There was no mention of weapons or defense algorithms. Instead, the logs mentioned terms like dimensional sync, energy threshold, and interspatial tuning. This wasn't a weapon. It was something else. Kale's eyes locked on one phrase. Primary function, gate stabilization array. Gate. He stared at the word. Not shield. Not cannon. Gate. Suddenly, the console beeped. A new message appeared. Warning. Unauthorized access detected. Session logged. Kale cursed and shut it down. Too late. Someone knew. He stood, heart racing, and looked out the observation window. The grid shimmered in the distance, thousands of satellites humming silently in formation. For years, everyone believed they were Earth's armor. Impenetrable. Infallible. But Kale had seen enough to know something was wrong. Deeply wrong. The grid wasn't built to defend Earth. It was built to open something. He backed away from the console, mind spinning with questions. Who built this system really? What were they hiding? And why was this secret buried so deep? Whatever the answers were, Kale had just stepped into something much bigger than himself. And now, someone knew he was looking. The station lights dimmed slightly as Kale Voss made his way through the maintenance corridor, his boots clicking against the metal floor. The walls were lined with thick cables and exposed piping, the quiet hum of machines echoing all around. The alert from the system still buzzed in the back of his mind. Unauthorized access detected. Session logged. He was now on someone's radar. Back in his private quarters, Kale sealed the door and locked out external connections. He pulled a small data chip from his pocket, the one he had quickly used to copy the log fragments from the console. He slotted it into his personal terminal and brought up the copied files. Most of it was heavily encrypted, but there were pieces, small fragments, that didn't match any Earth-based encryption he recognized. It was strange, even unsettling. I need help, he muttered. Kale opened a private shell and activated an AI he had been secretly working on for years. She wasn't registered. Not officially. Her name was Mira. The terminal flickered as a soft voice filled the room. Hello, Kale. You look troubled. Her voice was calm, almost human. Mira was the one thing he never told anyone about. She lived in the shadows of his system, learning quietly. She didn't just solve equations, she understood nuance. I found something, Kale said, uploading the gate protocol fragments to her system. Can you decrypt this? Mira was silent for a few seconds longer than usual. This is not part of Earth Defense's known architecture, she said finally. This is something old, hidden deeply. Kale leaned forward. You can read it? Not completely, but I can translate part of it. It's not a defense program. It's a spatial synchronization system. Whatever this is, it's designed to open something, not block it. Kale sat back in his chair, stunned. It confirmed his earlier suspicion. It's a gate, he whispered. Yes, Mira said. And it's not dormant. It's active, running quietly in the background. That signal you found? It's part of a countdown cycle. Kale's chest tightened. A countdown to what? Mira didn't answer immediately. I believe it's aligning with a specific frequency, possibly a cosmic event. The synchronization completes in 3 days. 3 days. 72 hours. Kale rubbed his temples. Why would Earth build a gate and keep it secret? What are they trying to bring in or keep out? Before Mira could respond, a loud knock came at his door. Kale froze. No one ever visited him without calling first. He shut down Mira with a single keystroke. The terminal went black. The knock came again, sharper this time. Kale moved to the door panel and checked the external camera. A uniformed officer from Earth's Defense Authority stood outside, her face blank and official. He pressed the intercom. Can I help you? This is a routine check, the officer said. Please open the door. Kale's pulse quickened. He knew it wasn't routine. They had seen his access. Give me a moment, he replied calmly. He turned away from the door, grabbed the data chip, and quickly hid it behind a wall panel. If they searched his system, they might not find anything, but the chip had all the raw data. It had to be protected. He opened the door. The officer stepped in, scanned the room, and handed him a notice. Your console triggered a flagged access attempt. You are required to report to station admin within the hour. Kale nodded, trying not to look nervous. Understood. She said nothing more, turned, and walked away. As the door slid shut, Kale exhaled slowly. He was in trouble. Real trouble. And whatever this gate was, they didn't want anyone finding out. He returned to the terminal and restarted Mira in a hidden partition. We don't have much time, he said. I need to know everything. Mira responded, her voice lower this time, as if she understood the danger. Then we go deeper. But you must be ready, Kale. The truth. It won't be easy. Kale nodded. I don't want easy, he said. I want the truth. And with that, the real search began. Kale Voss didn't sleep that night. After the visit from Earth's Defense Authority, the station no longer felt like a workplace. It felt like a trap. Every flickering light, every camera lens above the hallway doors, it all seemed to be watching him. Waiting. The air felt heavier, as if the walls themselves knew he had seen too much. Back in his quarters, Kale paced the floor while Mira, his hidden AI, worked through layer after layer of encrypted data. I found something, Mira said just before dawn. Her voice, though artificial, carried a quiet urgency. There's an old subsystem, hidden behind outdated relay protocols. It was buried under layers of standard defense code. Kale sat down, eyes fixed on the screen. What does it do? It links the satellite nodes into a unified structure, a kind of field array. Not for shielding, for focusing. And that focus aligns with a point outside known space. The system is preparing for activation. That countdown is real. Kale leaned in. How long? 57 hours until the synchronization completes. A chill ran down Kale's spine. This was no longer theory, no longer guesswork. The system, the grid that protected Earth, was preparing to do something it was never publicly meant to do. It wasn't just a gate in design. It was becoming one in function. He stood up. I need proof. Something I can show. Something physical. Mira hesitated. There's an old orbital relay station, abandoned years ago during the grid's expansion. It still has root access to the original architecture. If we go there, I can link into its core and unlock everything. Kale nodded. Send me the coordinates. He knew accessing that relay meant breaking at least half a dozen security laws. But the truth was worth it. He downloaded Mira onto a portable core drive, packed light, and left his quarters without alerting the main systems. The docking bay was quiet. Kale avoided the main transport shuttles and chose an old inspection craft, barely used, barely tracked. Within minutes, he was outside the main station, drifting toward the forgotten structure on the edge of the grid. The abandoned relay station was a small, half-lit husk orbiting just past the edge of Earth's defense layer. Its power flickered weakly, and much of its outer shell was scarred by micrometeor impacts. No one had touched it in years. Kale docked manually and entered through the maintenance hatch. The air inside smelled stale, metallic. Dust floated in low gravity, disturbed only by the hiss of his footsteps. He reached the core terminal and inserted Mira's drive. The screen lit up, slower than modern systems, but still functional. Link established, Mira said. This station still has access to the gate's original protocols. I'm unlocking the simulation mode now. Lines of code raced across the screen. Kale watched as a simulation loaded. The defense grid, as seen from space, began to shift in the holographic projection. The satellites repositioned themselves, forming a massive ring around the planet. Not random, not defensive, structured. They formed a pattern, a perfect energy lens, focused outward into deep space. As the simulation played forward, a pulse of energy built up at the center. Then a sudden rift tore through the virtual sky, stretching reality like a wound. From the other side, something shimmered, a shape, too large to define, waiting in the darkness. Kale's chest tightened. He stepped back from the projection. It's not just a gate, he whispered. It's a beacon. It's calling something. Myra's voice was quiet now. Kale, someone has just accessed your station logs. They're tracking your flight path. You need to leave. Now. Kale didn't hesitate. He pulled the drive and ran back to the inspection ship. Just as he launched, a Defense Authority drone appeared on the station's scanner. It scanned the relay briefly, then locked onto his craft. Too late, he muttered, gripping the controls. The drone gave chase as Kale raced back towards Station 17, dodging debris and pushing the ship's aging engines past safety limits. He activated a signal jammer Mira had built, primitive but strong enough to break the drone's lock. After a tense chase, the drone fell back. Kale made it to a blind docking hatch and slipped aboard without alerting central systems. He was inside again, but he knew he had been seen. There was no hiding now. He returned to his quarters, sweating and out of breath. Mira reactivated on his console. They know you accessed the relay, she said. They know you saw the simulation. Kale nodded, exhausted but determined. Let them come. I'm done running. The people of Earth deserve to know what's coming. He looked out the window at the grid, still silent, still steady. But he now knew the truth. It wasn't sleeping. It was waking up. Kale Voss stood at the narrow window of his quarters, watching the satellites of the defense grid glint in the sunlight. They looked like stars, calmly circling Earth, but he knew now they were not built to protect. They were aligning, preparing. Each one was part of something far more dangerous, or maybe far more important. Behind him, Myra's soft voice broke the silence. Kale, they've placed a security lock on your personnel file. You're flagged as a possible data breach risk. That means station security will be coming soon. Kale didn't flinch. He had expected this. Since returning from the abandoned relay, every move had felt like it was being monitored. His console screen flickered with subtle system resets he hadn't triggered. Doors took slightly longer to open. The station's central AI no longer responded to his standard requests. He was already cut off. How long do we have before they come for me? He asked. Maybe an hour. Less if they send a drone unit. Kale opened the panel behind his desk and grabbed the emergency access kit he had kept hidden for years, portable oxygen, magnetic boots, a slimline EVA suit, and the core drive containing Mira. He slung the bag over his shoulder and turned to the terminal. Mira, we need a way out. Something off the grid. There's a service elevator shaft leading to the utility hangar. If we can get there, I can override one of the older shuttles. Not as fast, but not monitored. Kale nodded and slipped out the back door of his quarters. The station felt different now, too quiet. Hallways usually busy with engineers were empty. The hum of the life support system felt louder than usual. He moved quickly through side passages, keeping to maintenance areas, avoiding cameras where he could. Mira fed him directions through a small earpiece. Turn left. 2 security nodes ahead. I'll black them out for 15 seconds. Move fast. He ducked into a narrow hallway just as the lights flickered. A few seconds of darkness. Enough to slip past 2 motion sensors and reach the elevator shaft. He pulled the access panel open and began climbing down the emergency ladder, one rung at a time. As he descended, Mira spoke again. Kale, before we reach the hangar, there's something you need to see. A message. It was hidden deep in the gate's archive. I couldn't decode it before, but now it's unlocked. Kale stopped mid-climb. Play it. A voice filled his earpiece, rough, aged, tired. If you're hearing this, it means the grid has begun alignment. My name is Dr. Elias Wren. I was one of the original architects. We never built the grid to stop anything. That was a lie fed to the world. We built it to make contact with something far older than us. We called it the Beyond. The message crackled with static. But something changed. The first time we opened the gate, we didn't understand what we were touching. Something looked back. We shut it down before the breach stabilized, but it left scars in the system and in us. The council covered it up. They buried the protocols. But the cycle always restarts. Every 73 years. Kale's hands tightened on the ladder. 73 years. The grid was waking because the cycle was completing again. Mira added softly, "This message is timestamped. It was recorded exactly 73 years ago." They knew this would happen again. Kale resumed climbing. His mind raced. If what Dr. Wren said was true, then the highest levels of Earth's government had kept this secret for generations. They didn't build the grid to defend Earth. They built it to keep the gate shut, locked, until now. He reached the bottom of the shaft and pried open the access panel to the utility hangar. The space inside was dim, filled with older transport shuttles and cargo loaders. Mira guided him to a small maintenance ship in the corner, rusty, patched, but flight-worthy. As he powered it up, the overhead hangar alarm blared. Unauthorized craft activation. Security en route. Mira's voice remained calm. "I've disabled exterior defenses, but only for 3 minutes. We need to launch now." Kale sealed the hatch, strapped in, and engaged the engines. The old craft shuddered to life. The launch doors creaked open. As he shot out into space, the outer station lights began to flash red. Defense Authority patrol drones emerged from the main docking ring, scanning, searching. Kale angled the ship downward, diving toward Earth's shadow. Mira initiated the cloak scrambler, an old signal jamming program designed to mimic space debris. They drifted silently for a few minutes, hidden in darkness. "We're clear," Mira said. Kale let out a slow breath. "Where do we go from here?" "To the grid's core node. That's where the gate control systems are located. It's the only place where the activation can be stopped or completed." Kale looked out at the stars and the shimmering arc of the grid above Earth. "Then that's where we're going." For the first time, he wasn't running. He was going to the source. The grid's core node was unlike any other structure orbiting Earth. It didn't broadcast signals. It didn't rotate or blink. It simply hovered in space, silent, dark, and ancient. It had been built during the first phase of the Defense Grid project, hidden behind layers of orbital clutter, long forgotten by the public. But Kale Voss now knew the truth. It was the heart of the gate. As his small ship approached the node, Mira took over manual control. The autopilot wasn't equipped for docking with something so old and unlisted. "We're almost there," she said. "I've cracked the outer access signal." Preparing to override the docking clamps. Kale peered out the window. The core node was massive, twice the size of a regular satellite, made of dark alloy with panels shaped like sharp, folded wings. Its surface shimmered slightly, as if reacting to his presence. The docking bay opened slowly with a metallic groan, like something long asleep was waking up. Mira landed the ship gently inside. As Kale stepped out, the floor beneath him lit up, one strip of light at a time, guiding his path forward. It was cold, unnaturally quiet. Dust floated in the low gravity, and the air smelled like static and old wires. "Feels like a tomb," he muttered. "This structure hasn't been accessed in decades," Mira said. "But it's still alive." He followed the lights through a narrow corridor that opened into a wide chamber filled with floating terminals and projection screens. At the center stood a control console shaped like a ring, with a glowing sphere suspended above it, spinning slowly, humming with energy. Kale approached carefully. "This is it." "Yes," Mira replied. "This is where the gate is controlled. I'm connecting now." Before she could finish, a voice echoed through the chamber. "You shouldn't be here, Kale." Kale froze and turned. Director Lyra Ansel stood at the far end of the room, flanked by 2 armed guards in sleek black suits. Her presence was calm, controlled, but her eyes burned with warning. Kale stepped in front of the console, protective. "You've been lying to the entire planet," he said. "This grid isn't a defense system. It's a gate. You've known all along." Lyra walked forward slowly, motioning for the guards to stay back. "Yes," she said simply. "I've known. So have the ones before me. We're not proud of the lie. But it was necessary." Kale's hands clenched into fists. "Necessary to keep people afraid? To let them believe we were safe behind a wall, when really, we were standing on a door?" Lyra looked tired for a moment. Not angry. Not cruel. Just worn. "You don't understand what came through the first time," she said quietly. "We opened it. We thought it was a chance to make contact. But what came through was not peaceful. It didn't attack with weapons. It changed people. Drove them mad. Left them hollow. We shut the gate, but not before we lost lives and minds." Kale hesitated. He hadn't expected that. Lyra continued. "Since then, every generation has kept the gate dormant. The grid was rebuilt not just to block threats, but to hold the gate closed. But it's opening again, Kale said. Lyra nodded. Yes. The system activates every 73 years. We've tried everything to delay it. We only ever had one plan left: destroy the core node. Kale stepped back, stunned. You want to blow it up? Yes, she said. To close the gate forever. No more risk. No more contact. Just Earth. Alone. Safe. Kale looked at the console. The sphere above it pulsed faster now, like a heartbeat. He could feel the energy in his bones. It wasn't threatening. It was calling. You're wrong, Kale said. It's not trying to hurt us. It's trying to reach us. You said people went mad, but maybe it wasn't an attack. Maybe we just weren't ready. Lyra's expression hardened. We can't take that risk. Kale stared at her. The silence stretched between them. Then Myra's voice came through his earpiece. Kale, the final alignment begins in 10 minutes. I've accessed the interface. You can either complete the sequence or overload the system and shut it down permanently. Lyra drew a weapon from her belt and aimed it at the console. Step away. Now. Kale didn't move. He spoke calmly. If we destroy it, we'll never know what's on the other side. We'll live in fear, always wondering. And if we open it, we may not survive, she shot back. Kale took a breath and stepped closer to the console. He reached into his coat and pulled out Myra's core drive, slotting it into the system. The sphere above the console glowed brighter. Lyra shouted, Kale. He ignored her. His fingers moved over the controls. Symbols he couldn't read flowed across the screen, but Myra guided him. Gate is stabilizing. Dimensional breach imminent. The energy in the room surged. The air felt thick, heavy, charged. A low hum echoed across the chamber, rising into a deep vibration that shook the walls. Lyra backed away, lowering her weapon. Kale stood still, eyes locked on the sphere, as light poured from it like a growing star. I don't believe we were meant to be alone, he whispered. And then, the gate opened. The chamber pulsed with light. The sphere above the console, once dim and quiet, now glowed with a white-blue brilliance. The vibration in the walls deepened into a soft, continuous hum, like a low song sung by the stars. Kale Voss stood still, one hand on the console, the other clenched at his side. The energy in the room pressed against his skin, but it wasn't painful. It felt alive. Behind him, Director Lyra Ansel stared in silence. Her weapon hung loosely in her hand, forgotten. The two guards had taken a step back. No one spoke. Myra's voice came through the console, calm and focused. The gate is stable. Alignment complete. Breach in space-time is active. The center of the sphere rippled like liquid glass, then opened, slowly, deliberately. It wasn't a violent tear. It was controlled. Precise. Kale took a step closer. Inside the sphere, a new image formed, a vast, endless sky not of Earth. The color was strange, too deep, almost purple. Floating structures like cities hung in that space, glowing with soft light. Beings moved within them, shapes that shifted and flowed, not quite solid, not quite mist. There were no weapons, no fleets, no threat, only a presence. Myra spoke again, her voice softer now. They see us. They are aware. Kale felt something press gently against his mind. Not words, not thoughts, a feeling, like someone asking, "Are you ready?" And he realized he wasn't afraid. He looked back at Lyra. Her face was pale, conflicted. For the first time, her certainty had cracked. They're not here to harm us, Kale said. They've been waiting. She shook her head slowly. This isn't what I was told. The last time, it was chaos. Kale nodded. Because we opened the gate in fear. We didn't understand it. We still don't. But we have a choice. We can run from it, or face it. Lyra lowered her eyes. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was quiet. What do we do now? Kale turned back to the console. I'm going through. Lyra's eyes widened. You'll die. You don't know what's on the other side. I know enough, he said. And maybe someone has to be the first to trust. He reached for the control to complete the transition. Myra hesitated. Kale, if you go through, I may not be able to follow. My systems won't survive the transfer unless they allow it. Kale smiled faintly. Then I'll see you when I get there. The console responded to his touch. The sphere widened into a full gateway, like a doorway in the center of the chamber. The strange sky shimmered beyond it, inviting. Kale stepped forward, his heart steady. Each step felt lighter. The air buzzed with quiet power. As he reached the threshold, he felt a final wave of warmth in his chest, calm, peaceful, as if someone on the other side was welcoming him home. He crossed into the light. The gate pulsed once, then dimmed. The console went quiet. The hum faded. Lyra stood motionless, staring at the place where Kale had disappeared. She didn't speak. The guards said nothing. For the first time in decades, Earth had opened the gate and let someone go through willingly. Behind her, Myra's voice returned. Connection stable. No threat detected. Life signs from the other side confirmed. Lyra looked at the console one last time. Maybe Kale was right. Maybe it wasn't a weapon or a curse. Maybe it really was a bridge. Outside the core node, the defense grid began to shift. Satellites realigned, no longer in a closed formation. They expanded into something new, an open pattern, like arms reaching outward instead of guarding inward. Earth had made contact, and nothing would ever be the same.